Our town, Garden City, Kansas, USA. We're a busy, friendly town in the heart of the great Midwest states. 12,000 good neighbors are enjoying the expansion by industry of our fertile lands. Our population increase has been steady, our growth sound. Our productive growth and population increase is the result of the development of oil reserves, gas reserves, irrigation farming, and the importance of our town as a primary market for grain and livestock. For almost 15 years, Garden City has stood at the top in dollar volume of retail trade per capita among Kansas cities. The daily trade area includes 8,800 square miles, with a population of over 42,000. The stores that supply us know our tastes and our needs and furnish us with the merchandise we want. Our town escaped the rowdyism that marked the history of so many frontier towns. It originally was called Fulton for the brothers who started home, but one Mrs. Fulton had such a beautiful garden that a stranger suggested that Fulton looked like a garden city, and so the Fultons themselves so named it. It was incorporated in 1883. Today, no city in Kansas can claim more beautiful trees, yards, and parks, for we truly live in a garden city. Today, we're a busy and bustling city with lots of trade, industries, and agricultural advancements. We've got plenty of traffic, but it always keeps moving. We've lots of shopping to do, but we manage to keep up with it, and we live a very complete life right here in our town. Let's see whether we can recognize anyone or see our favorite shopping places. We are proud of the ever-expanding business in our town and the many friends and neighbors who either supply us or give us an opportunity to be employed in such a wide variety of interesting occupations. For it is in our town that we can choose to be a farmer or a scientific genius, probing about for the right answers at the agricultural experimental station, a natural gas driller, or a high school teacher. There's room in our town for brain and brawn, and we have a very happy combination of both in Garden City. The Garden City Cooperative Equity Exchange was organized 35 years ago by local farmers in response to a need for a better marketing system for their grain. Today, from a modest beginning, the Garden City Cooperative Equity Exchange owns and operates the largest country grain elevator in the world, with a total grain storage capacity in excess of 2.5 million bushels. Manager Kenneth Lyon and Assistant Manager Fred Eaton examine a sample of the last shipment. When the grain arrives from the farms after harvesting, it is weighed at the elevator onto a scale which is capable of weighing 60,000 pounds at a time. The grain is tested to ascertain the amount of moisture in the load in order to determine what the final weight of the grain will be when the moisture is removed for actual storage. The co-op has branches in 2 counties for the convenience of its stockholder members, as well as retail outlets for the general public, which may also enjoy the service. The grain being unloaded is sometimes referred to as Kansas corn by local people because of its similarity to regular corn in nutritive value. This is feed grain locally grown and used for cattle feed mixes, poultry mixes, and as a substitute for corn mixes. Each year, the Garden City Cooperative Equity Exchange handles farm products with a value in excess of $5 million. The Garden City Cooperative Equity Exchange has taken a very fine place in our town. The organization takes its place in contributing to the wealth and development of Garden City and its surrounding agricultural area. The business affairs of the organization are under the direction of a 7-man board, all of whom are local active farmers. Directors are elected by the vote of the stockholders at annual stockholders' meetings. Each stockholder has only 1 vote at the meetings, regardless of the number of shares of stock he owns. 90% of the Garden City Cooperative Equity Exchange business is done through its members. Unloading grain at the elevator is only one of the many services of the Garden City Cooperative Equity Exchange. This is one of the largest elevators in the state, holding 1,320,000 bushels in all. Fred Eaton and Herb Doherty of Co-op supervise the boxcar loading at the grain elevator siding. Transportation facilities are no problem at the Garden City Cooperative Equity Exchange. This service station of the Cooperative was built in 1929. The addition of a tire, grease, and washing service was secured in 1932 to serve its farmer members and also non-farmer members of our town who shop there at the complete paint and hardware departments. Department Manager Floyd Ricker supervises the splendid service on the grease rack or tire changing apparatus and oversees the retail sales of parts and accessories for any make automobile. Well-trained mechanics and thorough service are the rule at the Garden City Cooperative Equity Exchange. The co-op tire service truck, which can get to the scene of trouble or a repair job fast, provide on-the-farm service, or serve as a pickup for huge tractor tires, is another fine service of the Garden City Cooperative Equity Exchange. Transportation is the lifeline of any town. The building of the Santa Fe Railroad marked an important step in the industrial and business life of our town. The El Capitan is just one of the fine trains that today services our community. The bus terminal, with buses that leave from many nearby and distant places, are a convenience that we enjoy, another means of transportation that we utilize. With high-speed motor travel today, we're able to make many miles in a day, which took our ancestors months. We have good roads, well-marked highways that have been built to eliminate dangerous curves and difficult terrain. Buses, trucks, and private cars alike use our well-maintained highways. Since 1924, the Fidelity State Bank has been serving our town and a 15-mile radius around Garden City with efficient and friendly service. Fidelity State Bank is completely equipped with the latest in modern machinery for accuracy and fast service. The friendly, efficient people who work behind the scenes operate long hours after the bank closes its doors at the end of each day. Harold Owen and his family have been transacting business with Fidelity State as well as many others of your friends and neighbors who appreciate the courtesy and many services available here. The Fidelity State Bank is here to serve you by accepting and safeguarding your deposits, assuring easy and efficient withdrawals when you need them, and lending money to qualifying customers who need it. Mr. Robert Ed Downey, president of Fidelity State Bank, discusses financial matters with a farmer customer from the Garden City area. For it is at Fidelity State that farmers, manufacturers, merchants, homeowners, and professional men come to discuss and get help for a variety of projects. Loans are quickly and confidentially handled by friendly people who are here to help you solve any financial problem. Safekeeping of valuables is important to your peace of mind. Mrs. Smith and son Roger follow Doris Gray to the safety deposit vault. Low rental rates for completely insured safety deposit boxes are important to the housewife or businessman in order to protect those important papers from fire and theft at home or office. This is just one of the fine services at Fidelity State Bank where sound advice, friendly, courteous service are yours for the asking. A full-time recreation program is available in our town for all age groups. It is only a few minutes' drive to our well-stocked lakes for fishing and boating. Thousands of hunters make our town their headquarters during the game bird season in fall. The Civic Center bustles with activity of all kinds. Your favorite sport or cultural activity group meets here to enjoy an exchange of ideas, a chance to swap tall stories about the one that got away, and also to learn new methods or facts about the project or sport in which we're most interested. Here the display of fishing equipment, rods and reels of all kinds, were arranged by Dr. H.R. Stone, director of the Finney County Fish and Game Association, the largest and most active fish and game club in the state of Kansas. Bird and gun display was assembled by Ralph Younger, state game warden, with the help of Dwayne Waters and Marvin Schwilling, state game biologists. Whether it's a hobby that we take lightly or a more serious interest, we are bound to learn a lot at these fine demonstration meetings. These civic center activities account for much of the active social and cultural times we are privileged to enjoy in our town. When we think of good food, we always think of Wall's IGA Food Liner, where Mr. Walls and Mr. Carl Coons supervise the wonderful packages of fresh food that we buy for our table. For almost 50 years, there's been a Wall's food store in our town. Now the modern, efficient Wall's Food Liner has every new device for making our purchases more economical and fresher than ever. Temperature in the meat department is kept at 58 degrees to prevent spoilage, while the meat is being cut, weighed, trimmed, and packaged for your use. Wall's IGA Food Liner sees that a variety of cuts are on display at the self-service counter for your selection. Here at Wall's Food Liner, they believe in fresh food, neatly packaged at reasonable prices, arranged for your convenience. Wall's Food Liner has the letters IGA between its name. This means lower food prices on all items because of the central buying system. A single supply depot in the IGA means the elimination of the middleman. Buying in such large quantities for all IGA stores means lowest prices are obtainable. Every major brand on the market is available to you at Wall's IGA Food Liner. Fresh fruit and vegetables of high quality make it possible for Mother to make it a one-stop shopping day at Wall's IGA Food Liner for everything she needs for the family table. Shopping is not a chore, but a pleasure at Wall's IGA Food Liner, where everything is arranged for your convenience. Even the children enjoy helping Mother shop among the colorful packages. This is the way to start Mother's little helper learning about foods that she will eat and also that she will be buying when she is of age. The courteous and well-trained employees see to it that you are given fresh-cut, fresh-packaged meats and vegetables every day of the week. They serve you mostly behind the scenes. Efficient cashiers get you out of the store promptly with the help of rotating tables for speedy checking. There's no need to waste a minute of your precious time when you shop at Wall's IGA Food Liner, or one of the fine business firms of our town, here to serve you. Let's take a peek behind the scenes at Wall's IGA Food Liner and learn why the food is so good and the price is so reasonable. The office has the latest and most efficient equipment and methods of accounting and operations control. Norbel Kraus fills out the forms for the dry groceries orders. Briggs Walls and Ted Ludwig are working on the perishable merchandise list. Generally, merchandise is ordered by code through the mails, but on perishable goods, Briggs Walls places the order directly by phone to the warehouse. The order is delivered the following morning through the IGA system of supply, using giant Fleming transports for quick and efficient delivery. For almost 50 years, there has been a Wall's food store in our town. This one is the new, modern as tomorrow Wall's IGA Food Liner, owned and operated by people who love and believe in their town and who are ready to serve their neighbors. We are fortunate in our town to have the Garden City Aero service. A Piper Pacer arrives at the field, bringing Mr. and Mrs. Meredith, who are greeted by their son, Bill. This is a private airport serving our town with charter flights which connect up with countrywide airplane flights, with an agricultural spraying service, an overhaul and storage in the large hangars for private planes, and also a dependable charter service to wherever we need to get to fast. It's a convenience that serves our town well. What a different view one gets of our town from up in the air. Everything looks so neatly laid out, and there are many buildings that we can recognize. We look down on our Garden City with its manager-commissioned form of government, its daily paper, and 2 radio stations to keep us well informed. Finup Park, the home of the largest zoo, the largest swimming pool in the world, rich, irrigated agricultural territory, fine stock country, good crops. It's a wonderful place to be. Garden City Company, the only sugar refinery in the state, comes into view. Yes, we have plenty of industry here to provide ample opportunity for our young people. There are plenty of civic and service clubs to create agreeable social times as well, to make for a well-balanced living in a town that is not only geographically well located, but which has a fine, healthy climate. The history of Kansas is almost forgotten today in the rush of everyday living. Kansas was admitted as a state in the Union January 29, 1861. Francisco Vasquez de Coronado, the famous Spanish explorer, is reputed to have been the first white man to visit Kansas in his search for gold in 1541. He is believed to have followed a trail that led through Finney County. It's a far cry from those days to the new $1.5 million high school and junior college that we have built for the young people of our town today. In the early days, buffalo ran wild here, but both the white man and Indian benefited with food and clothing from the buffalo. Now he is only a relic of the past. The peaceful, serene homes we live in and the family life we have come to know makes it seem unreal that we should have had such a colorful past. The buffalo herds roaming around for many years and sometimes dangerous to the shacks they called home in those days are part of our past exciting history. Today, we all ask that from now on it be a peaceful history. One of the industries that has grown with our town and that utilizes the resources of our area is the Garden City Company, which in 1906 commenced its sugar beet operations and has grown and expanded to a capacity of 1,200 tons of sugar beets per day. The largest sugar beet growing area is north and west of Garden City, and the Garden City Company has its own railroad, which operates through that territory for the shipment of beets to the Garden City refinery. Garden City Sugar is the brand name of our own sugar beet product. Sugar beets are shipped to the factory by rail from various beet receiving stations over southwest Kansas. As all sugar beets cannot be received at the factory during the harvest, large piles are built at locations north and west of our town, where they remain until the Garden City Company factory is ready to process them. Factory operations commence the second week of October. The harvest begins around October 1st and lasts for about 5 weeks. All sugar beets are grown on irrigated land, as the normal rainfall is not sufficient to produce a sugar beet crop. Packaging is done both mechanically and manually at the Garden City Company. Their factory has been modernized to keep up with the latest technical advances in the production of sugar from sugar beets. The packaging machine has an output of about 42 sacks per minute. The machines automatically fill the bags with the proper weight and amount before the conveyor takes them to the sewing machine that is operated manually. The familiar Garden City sugar is packaged for shipment, then stacked in neat piles at the warehouse to await shipment to its ultimate destination. In addition to pure refined beet sugar, the Garden City Company byproducts include plain dried beet pulp and discard molasses. The beet pulp is the residue of the sugar beets after the sugar has been extracted in the factory operation and is dried to approximately 10% moisture and sacked in 100-pound burlap bags. Such pulp is mostly marketed in the states of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. All discard molasses is marketed locally. Both byproducts are marketed for livestock purposes. Agriculturally, this territory presents the finest picture in the West. Irrigation has played an important part in this development. The successful raising of sugar beets, the processing plant of the Garden City Company, have done much to develop the science of this industry. Today, the crop covers thousands of acres not only in the immediate county, but in the territory which Garden City serves. In building an ever-increasing business, the Garden City Company has also done much to develop more land in the area that was purchased by them for sugar beet crops, but later leased to various farmers. To further help in the development of this area, the Garden City Company generates electric power. All the power used in the immediate vicinity is generated by the Garden City Company and wholesaled to a public utility company which distributes the power to our town. Another service to the community by the Garden City Company, who will continue to serve and expand with the needs of our town. Garden City has many beautiful churches of all denominations. The First Methodist Church is concluding its Sunday morning services. We are pleased with the good attendance of both young and old at our fine and inspirational services. It demonstrates a community spirit of all denominations. The new building of the First Methodist Church is a fine addition to our town. The ever-growing interest in activities in and around the church are aiding both the young and old in Garden City. For here there is activity to keep the young folks well occupied, and the oldsters are given work to keep them part of an active and useful community life. The many lessons we learn and the wide guidance we receive from our active spiritual leaders is important in our town, for it is through our spiritual relationships that we learn how to get along with our fellow man. The Church of the Brethren is another of our fine town churches. In times of stress, our need to understand the ways of heaven become more strongly pronounced, and we turn to a church like St. Mary's to show us the way. If we start our young people through our religious schools and educate them young in the ways of love and tolerance for their fellow men, as they go forth and travel in the world, they may yet achieve peace and understanding in our time. The Community Church is another of our warm-hearted spiritual guides to an active interfaith program. Both youth and age are served here with enough knowledge and faith to carry over for good use in their everyday lives. The First Baptist Church is yet another fine example of the way our town has taken care of the spiritual needs of the community. For whatever denomination we are a part of, we may attend and enjoy the spiritual satisfaction that are ours through the religious freedom we have come to expect in our town. On Highway 50, south of the eastern edge of Garden City, is Masonry Products Company, Incorporated, the largest, most modern block plant in the western half of Kansas. Owned and operated by Roy Frankhauser, the plant has been managed for the past 5 years by Al Tolles, whose daily production record calls for 3,600 8-inch standard blocks a day, enough to build 3 three-bedroom homes. The process is an interesting one. The making of a block starts with the arrival of the cement and aggregate by freight cars. 1,000 bags of cement are used per week. The 3 cars of aggregate consumed each week are either natural cinders from the volcanic deposits of South Colorado or from the burned shale mills producing haydite in Kansas. The sand used for making concrete block is purchased locally. The cement is conveyed from the bulk cement car to a large bucket elevator 60 feet high for storage. The aggregate from the freight cars flows on belts to the bins over the plant. These bins drop the aggregate into a weight batcher. This batcher is so sensitive that the weight of a man's hand causes the fluctuation of the scale needle. The aggregate and cement are then fed into a large mixer. The mixer blends the cement and aggregate with the proper amount of water in 8 minutes, when it is then dropped into the block machine. This automatic machine forms and packs the concrete blocks into the firm, strong building material that Masonry Products Company is so well known for. Correct density of materials is assured automatically. Then the blocks are vibrated and packed into shape, automatically ejected, and then moved on to steel curing racks. 45 different shapes and sizes are made in the different molds. From the curing racks, the blocks go to the curing kilns for a 15-hour heat curing period. Then they are stacked for 30 days to assure that no green blocks are used in construction that might cause irregularities. For it is perfection of product that has made Masonry Products Company, Incorporated, the important masonry supplier of our area. Masonry Products Company not only furnish blocks for the large, beautiful buildings in our town, they also supply the building needs of an average of 10 neighboring schools, 3 or 4 churches, as well as smaller buildings each year in the area. They also serve 75 lumber yards with blocks for resale. Masonry Products have allied lines, too, such as a stock of metal windows and doors. They also stock reinforced steel bars and block mesh. Masonry brick and stucco paints in a wide variety of colors are especially to be found at Masonry Products. Trucks loaded with useful products from the Masonry Products Company provide materials for an area of over 150 miles. One of the many reasons that our town is proud of the fine record of an ever-expanding business of dependable material that comes from the Masonry Products Company. Famous mile runner Wes Santee's father and brother are old customers at Masonry Products. Mr. Frankhauser talks with them while blocks are being loaded onto their truck for some new farm construction. The new high school city auditorium is just one of the many projects that uses the high-quality building blocks which we have learned to expect from the plant of the Masonry Products Company. We are fortunate in Garden City to have such excellent schools. These schools not only teach the 3 R's, but in a practical way follow a balanced program of learning, sports, and social life. At Alta Brown Elementary School, the playground has many kinds of interesting equipment for the children to use. For at this school, like other elementary schools, it is as important to coordinate the bodies as it is to fill the minds with information that will serve the child in later life. There's a lot of work and money involved in getting a school ready for our young people. But since we know the benefits before the work is completed, it's a worthwhile task. At a new school, like our new high school and junior college, we know that the modern facilities always improve the quality of the work that can be accomplished in the classrooms. Physical education is as important to our youth as mental growth. In a track meet, every muscle is used and developed in all the various forms of physical exercise. There is more than meets the eye here. First, there is the need of learning body coordination. It is necessary to learn how not to get hurt. There is the need to accept defeat as well as glory, to learn to work with others, to accept discipline. All of these fine qualities can be developed under the word sport. Let's watch this splendid competition. Prior to the middle 30s, irrigation in this area was confined to river valleys. But with the coming of rotary drilling equipment and gravel-packed wells, a new industry, deep well irrigation, was brought to Garden City by E.W. Henkel. Although affiliated with the industry several years before, Henkel and Company opened its first irrigation headquarters in 1940, and in 1946 expanded its operations to the present plant site. Mr. Henkel conducts the managerial tasks of the firm and here checks the matter with Jim Ward, the credit manager. His secretary is available to assist in compiling data for the accurate files kept for future reference on all installations, all a part of offering greater service to their customers. Efficient management works hand in hand with all departments in constantly improving these services. Here, Henkel and Company office manager Stuart Boone checks over accounts with Marvin Wrightsman, the bookkeeper. Al Rahut, with Company's longest service record, shows the features of the Johnston turbine pump and Chrysler V8 power unit to Charles Larson, who has since purchased an identical unit. Prominent local enterpriser Everett Miller welds together sections of 16-inch casing, which will ultimately become a part of the completed well. The workmanship and know-how of Henkel and Company are unequaled in the territory, which explains why prospective irrigators head for Henkel's. Oran Miller, foreman of the pump setting crew, observed the operations of the service rig that is used in the installation of new turbine pumps, and is capable of handling a wide variety of jobs. Nearing the completion of the big hole, another Henkel and Company truck arrives at the scene loaded with casing perforated at different levels of the water-bearing sand, which have been previously determined from the best hole. Upon completion of the installation of the casing, circulation is restored while gravel packing the well. Then baling and developing operations begin. Here we see one of the Henkel and Company crews test pumping a well at Big Bow under the supervision of Gene Fletcher, field engineer. The developing and test pumping operations determine the settings and capacity of the customer's permanent pump installation and ensures him longer pump life and added years of trouble-free performance. Some cities boast of their natural harbors, others of their skyscrapers. The Garden City and the surrounding area has been blessed with all of the natural resources for a good irrigation area, cheap power, an adequate water supply, and the natural lay of the land. As you can see, Henkel and Company provides an important function that continues to stimulate the growth of our town and southwest Kansas, agriculturally and industrially. Kansas, and the largest free concrete municipal swimming pool in the world. We are fortunate indeed to have so many interesting animals to study and see right here in our own town. Here, Dad, Mother, and the whole family can enjoy a sunshiny day of good fresh air and still learn a great deal about the animals and birds that have such interesting stories and come from so many lands. Feeding the tamer animals can be lots of fun, and there's a large collection to choose from, 223 animals and fowls of 62 different kinds. Many of the birds and animals are not native to our country, but they do well in captivity, like the Chinese bantam. Shall we see how many we can recognize? That's the black-shouldered peacock, proud as you please. The wood duck, that's what this is. Golden pheasant is Asiatic, with rich and yellow and orange tones in the head and neck plumage of the male. The silver pheasant has attractive plumage, too. Ballets and theater have been written about the graceful swan. It glides with ease. The eagle is of the falcon family, noted for its size, strength, powerful flight, and its keenness of vision, the American symbol. Seals are friendly and playful, paddling along like they have bedroom slippers on. The polar bear, a long way from home, enjoys the cold and snow. The lioness can look like a lamb, purrs, and has soft paws. The lion is so familiar to us from movies that we almost think we can play with him. In size, that is. Doesn't this look like a refugee from Walt Disney? A native of Africa and Arabia, these swift-footed ostriches are very valuable for their plumage. The bison is a large American bovine known, too, as the buffalo that roamed our lands. These were wild and roamed all over this area in our early days. While they provided food and skins and were sustenance for both Indians and white men, in herds they were also dangerous as they foraged for food. The Guanaco is a favorite at our zoo. It's a wild South American of which the llama and alpaca are thought to be domesticated varieties. The most fun, of course, for children is feeding the animals and getting them to grunt or make the noises that they've come to know about from their school books. Many of the animals are so domesticated that they enjoy the attention and even show off a bit. There's much to be interested in here, and Mr. Claude Owens, the curator, has some interesting facts about all of the animals and fowl that roam around the zoo. The facilities in our parks are so superior to most, giving us all the pleasure of sports or games in whatever age group we are, and also offering picnic grounds in beautiful wooded areas for the whole family. The children can go off by themselves to the slides and have fun. Little girls prefer the quieter seesaw. Children of all ages love the swings, especially when some grown-up bothers to stand and do the swinging. The self-propelled merry-go-round is a great favorite, too. Fun and actually very fine for teaching a child timing. coordination and strong arm muscles developed from this monkey bar exercise. Here's where Dad and his boys get together and throw a little weight around as well as the ball. Helping in the building of a stronger Garden City through helpful loans, efficient service, and sound advice, the Garden National Bank has been serving our town since 1934. A glance at the busy lobby and teller's windows show why so many of our friends and neighbors like to do business with Garden National Bank, where their facilities are all arranged for your comfort and convenience. The earlier children are taught to save, the better. The courteous, patient service at Garden National Bank makes it a pleasure rather than a chore to transact even the most delicate of financial matters. Mr. S.F. Gish, president of the Garden National Bank, took over its management in 1945 and is in constant personal touch with his customers, ready to discuss and advise. Here, Dean Davies of the Garden City Laundry asks the friendly personal judgment of Mr. Gish on a business matter. It's nice to have your name on every check in your new checkbook. Here in operation is the Todd check imprinter for personalized checks. Vice President for 11 years, with the bank since 1920, L.G. Perry discusses a loan with Mrs. C.L. Henderson, satisfied customer of Garden National Bank. The Garden National Bank has the latest in modern equipment. Checks and deposits are accounted for with the help of these accurate machines and a well-trained staff to use them. These efficient people work behind the scenes long after the bank closes its doors. Sight-posting or placing the customer's checks in their proper ledger sheets is just one of the unseen operations that you don't see from out front. They are checked on by Ed Hopper, head bookkeeper, as part of the efficient, friendly service at the Garden National Bank. We have a wide variety of industries in our town and a fine labor relations situation in Garden City. We're always ready to welcome new industries and businesses to help our town continue to grow. In selecting industrial sites, we are able to offer accessible railroad transportation and convenient sidings for those who need that kind of service. Our Chamber of Commerce is always on hand to further any interest that may be shown by industry to settle in our town. We have much to offer, not only in a business way, but in a way of life. We have a fine group of educated and trained young people who are willing to work and study to be available when new avenues of employment are open. For the person considering settling their business here, we have much to offer their family, too. Our schools are excellent, we have good library facilities, we enjoy good medical and legal help, and ample hospital care. We have much in the way of entertainment and sports. Since 1928, Fansler Tires Incorporated has been serving our town by repairing and recapping practically any size automobile, truck, or farm tires. Russell Dillman shows a customer some new Goodyear products for which Fansler Tires is the distributor in 12 western Kansas counties. The buffing operation showing Earl Sanders preparing a tire for recapping is the first job after the tire is inspected to determine the extent of the damage. So that all the old tread and unevenness is done away with, the damaged rough rubber is removed down to the cord. These modern streamlined methods and machinery are a far cry from the 25 by 25 foot one-room shop that Harold Fansler started with in 1928. Pure rubber cement is applied by Ray Marshall to the newly buffed and roughened tire to allow the new rubber sheeting or camelback to adhere to the old casing when it is placed in the mold. Ralph Cohen and Elmer Tittle balance the recap tire so that many additional miles of road use are obtained by even wearing of the tire. Putting the new camelback sheet rubber on the tire after it is scientifically prepared is done by Ralph Cohen while Harold Fansler Jr. supervises. 8 used tires, 1 Clear Vision gasoline pump, and $250 working capital was all that Harold Fansler Sr. started his business with. For 15 years, he operated on a 24-hour, around-the-clock basis. Young Harold grew up in the tire business and today is sharing his father's responsibilities of an ever-expanding, ever-growing tire repair and sales organization. For today, Fansler Tires Incorporated is one of the largest and best-equipped tire shops in Kansas and supplies complete tire and battery service to customers throughout western Kansas. The molding process of the new tread is done in a special mold that allows the side walls of the tire to remain cool, thus eliminating any possible damage to the tire walls. Advanced methods and top-quality materials used by well-trained mechanics give you the assurance of a good job when you bring your repairs to Fansler Tires Incorporated. Excess rubber that fills up the seam of the mold when the thread is being formed is trimmed off, and then the tire is ready for its beauty bath, pure rubber paint. The tire not only has a new look, but it has been found to give 20% better service than the brand new tires you get with your car. Using a spinner on a mounted wheel to determine the balance and evenness of the tire is the finishing touch. The machine can more than approximate road speeds and therefore judge the tire's road behavior. 4 service trucks are operated by Fansler Tire Incorporated. Trucks are constantly on call to pick up and deliver items that are too bulky for normal handling, like tractor tires that are being brought in for recapping in the Fansler plant. Practically any size automobile, truck, and farm tire can be serviced in this well-equipped, well-staffed, well-directed shop at Fansler Tire Incorporated, who have been serving our town so well for 27 years. He profits most who serves best has been Mr. Fansler's motto through the years. Today, he and Harold Fansler Jr. are considering expansion plans for 55 to better serve an ever-increasing trade in our area. We are proud of the many service clubs in our town. The American Legion Memorial Building houses the offices of the Kansas Veterans Commission that are so active here. There are 9 active clubs in Finney County, held annually at the Alta Brown High School in our town. Some of these young people come from as far out as 50 miles from Garden City, but they want to be present at the presentation of awards for the best livestock, home economics, and agricultural achievement, as well as of soil awards. After the presentation of awards, there's a lively time with much music, dancing, and laughter by the young 4-H clubbers. This is a nice opportunity for the young people to meet some of the young folks from neighboring towns and farms, exchange ideas, enlarge their circle of friends, and get a better slant on the achievement of others through these awards. Many are inspired to compete the next year, and so the spirit of the occasion serves not only as a social outlet, but also as an inspiration to its members. In 1951, Mr. Earl Brookover told Mr. Harry Oswald that he planned to build a large cattle feeding yard near Garden City, and he also planned to store his many thousands of tons of silage in trenches. Mr. Brookover said he would have no trouble in filling the silos, but the problem was to get it out of the silo and into the feed trucks. The only way at that time was by hand fork or tractor front-end fork, which was both slow and tedious. Knowing Mr. Oswald's mechanical background, Mr. Brookover asked him to design and build a machine that would load his trucks at the rate of 1,000 pounds per minute. After months of research and mechanical engineering, Mr. Oswald built such a machine. We know it as the Ensi loader, manufactured by Oswald Industries Incorporated in our town. Realizing the need for this machine, Mr. Oswald applied for patents. Then he and his son Harry Jr. formed a partnership known as Oswald Industries, purchased a plant in Garden City to manufacture the Ensi loader in 1954. Word got around to other cattle feeders, and requests for the Ensi loader started coming in. Today, the Ensi loader is in operation in 18 states. The Oswalds have never stopped the development of this loader, and today their customers claim they can load 3,000 pounds of silage per minute. The Ensi loader has taken all the drudgery out of digging silage from pit or trench silos. It is the only machine on the market today where the feeder has no spoilage problem. It can be mounted either on a farm truck or tractor. This makes it completely mobile and very economical to operate. Standard models will dig in silos 17 feet deep. Larger models can be built by Oswald Industries to individual specifications. The site of the Earl Brook Overfeeding yards is where about 3,500 head of cattle are being fed for fattening before they are sent to market. We can see the Ensi loader at work at Brookovers and realize how much the Oswald Industries has contributed to the work of the cattle feeders with this efficient and heavy-duty machine. This is probably one of the few places in the country where milo is stored outside in piles like this. Here also is hay, straw, chopping alfalfa, as well as grain bins for storage and an elevator for mixing the diet of the cattle. This farm uses 1,000 bushels of milo a day to feed the cattle. The Oswald Industries Ensi loader handles not only silage, but also frozen silage, manure, snow, and many other materials. Ensilage is weighed to determine the amount of other feeds that must be added to make a proper diet for the farm animal. The feeding of livestock has become a scientific process dependent on the good machinery that makes it possible to feed safely and regularly. The accuracy with which feeding operations go on to assure proper content of food and sufficient food to fatten them for market is why these cattle produce the best grade of beef. We can be proud of having so important an industry in Garden City as Oswald, who provide the Ensi loader, which loads directly from the silo into the feed truck, leaves the pile straight, and loosens only the end silage that is loaded. This scientific contribution to the cattle feeders by Oswald Industries Incorporated is the reason why they will continue to grow with our town. As long as the population continues to grow, there is always new building. While the new housing is convenient to the stores and shopping center, they are far enough from the main thoroughfare to assure children's safety and play, yet close enough to afford easy access to schools. Here we are able to know our neighbors, to make lifelong friends, to enjoy a backdoor relationship with the youngsters who just drop in after school with our own, but remain for that cool drink and cookies. The modern conveniences make it possible for Mother to take over a Cub Scout group or get into civic activities. And my, aren't the children proud? This is where John and Mary will grow up. Then they'll marry and raise a family of their own, and more homes will be needed. And so our town progresses. These lovely homes with fine lawns and trees have beautiful gardens in the back for relaxing and enjoyment away from the whir of motors that pass these doors. We're a home-loving people, and our whole town reflects the spirit of our good neighborliness. It takes a lot of people to make a world, they say, but our little world that starts right here at home in Garden City is a pleasant place to be, among pleasant people. In 1953, H. Dean Davies took over as president and general manager of the Garden City Laundry and Cleaners Incorporated. Today, 28 of your good neighbors and 4 friendly route men cover a radius of 50 miles around our town, offering one-day service, in by 9 a.m., out by 5 p.m. When the laundry has been sorted at Garden City Laundry and Cleaners Incorporated, loosely woven fabric laundry wash bags are used to contain the clothing before it goes into the automatic washing machine. No harsh cleansing ingredients are used. The gentle tumbling action assures complete cleansing without wear and tear to the garment. This is true of either laundering or cleaning at Garden City. From the laundering machine, the garments move to the extractor, where excess moisture is removed. Arch Higgins and many of the employees have been with the laundry for 11 or more years. They know their jobs, and they know how to spare Mother the unpleasant tasks at home. With modern equipment, careful handling, and expert supervision, Garden City Laundry and Cleaners has increased their business 250%. Their courteous service is one more reason for their steady growth. The sorting process assures you of receiving the proper garments that belong to you and facilitates the pressing and resorting according to your own laundry mark when the garments are to be packaged for delivery. Shirts are a man's most valuable washable possession. They want comfort from their laundering, so special machines are used at Garden City Laundering and Cleaning to give each part individual pressing. A shirt pressing assembly line can turn out beautifully ironed shirts with flawless perfection in a matter of seconds, while Mother would take hours to accomplish the job. These 4 girls on the line actually press more than 80 shirts an hour. All this is part of the fine service we in our town have come to expect of the efficient scientific service at the Garden City Laundry and Cleaners Incorporated. On the flatwork ironer or large mangle, the operators are able to press 4 sheets a minute. Just think of that, Mother. 4 sheets a minute. That's why Garden City Laundry is able to offer such reasonable rates. This type of mass production line makes it possible. Pressing is an art, as Mother can tell you, and it can be very hard work. But when you have the fine machinery, skilled labor, and adequate space to work in as Garden City Laundry and Cleaners, you can be proud of your product. When the clothing is finished and ready for delivery to your home, it is sorted again and checked to make sure that everything is in order. It is then packaged in neat bundles for departure on the route. The packages from Garden City Laundry and Cleaners are then ready to be emptied into your bureau drawer or closet, fresh and clean and ready to use. Four route trucks are at your service. Roy Clayton has been covering a 50-mile radius for 14 years. He's ready to serve you, as are the others at Garden City Laundry and Cleaners Incorporated, with one-day service. In at 9 a.m., out by 5 p.m. Everybody loves a bargain, and at Earl Barton's auction, everyone has a chance to bid on one. What seems most valuable to one seems like junk to another. But here you can bid to your heart's content on everything from furniture to cows. It's interesting to watch the people. There are some who take the bidding very seriously. They've set their heart on owning a particular thing. Others treat it as they would a game of bridge and bid to keep things going, just to see how far they can go. Still others, with bargains in mind, look almost wounded when the price goes above the level they feel they can afford. Antique hunting and auctions are an old-time sport. Many people will go miles to track something down they think they want to own, yet they wouldn't go across the street for something new at a preset price. This sort of thing has been going on since the beginning of time, when the first two people traded one item for another. However, at that time, it was not a business as it is today. It was more of a barter arrangement. You have a cow that gives milk, and I have chickens that lay eggs. I need milk, you need eggs, and so we trade. From that came the inevitable and dramatic family honor to be saved when all was lost and they couldn't pay the mortgage. The valuables were auctioned to give them cash for their debts. Today, there is much being bought at the auction. It is the sound and fascinating business for the auctioneer, who takes as many chances in most cases as the buyer. He has to pay cash for what may turn out to be junk or unsaleable. But the odds are for him because on the whole he can usually make up on one item what he may have lost on another. It's a fascinating business, and it's nice that we can try our hand at picking up a bargain from time to time with the added thrill of bidding for it, right here in our town. When we see the familiar refrigerated trucks, we know that pure, fresh, delicious dairy products by the Gardner Dairy and Ice Cream Company are being delivered to retail stores in 50 towns in southwest Kansas. For in our town, Gardner's Dairy receives milk and cream from over 100 farms and has created a market for farm dairy products in this area of over $500,000. Even though the latest in scientific equipment is used, Gardner's Dairy provides jobs for 45 families who supervise the wonderful milk, butter, cheese, and ice cream products we have come to depend on from the Gardner Dairy and Ice Cream Company. Every can of milk is carefully checked at the Gardner Dairy and Ice Cream Company to see that it does not contain any objectionable flavors. Each farm supplying grade A milk is inspected regularly by gardeners as well as city and state inspectors. After the milk has been sampled for flavor and richness, it flows through sterile stainless steel tubes into large refrigerated storage tanks until ready for pasteurization. One of the most completely equipped laboratories checks each product to make sure that it lives up to the high standards of quality we have come to expect in Gardner's dairy products. In the storage tanks, the milk is cooled to 34 degrees Fahrenheit. Each tank is equipped with a stirring device to prevent settling. The tank capacity is 6,000 gallons. Very elaborate instruments control every operation to a fraction of a degree. In these clean rooms, the Gardner products that you buy from your favorite grocer are processed. Some of the milk is set aside to become the delicious ice cream you enjoy from Gardner's Dairy. The remainder goes through the pasteurizing equipment. Then the milk is homogenized to ensure top-quality grade A milk with the soft curd that is easier to digest. The milk leaves the homogenizer and is cooled just above freezing for bottling or cartoning. These machines are fully automatic, and the milk is never exposed to the air. The cartoning Pure Pack machine opens the cartons then sterilizes them inside and out. Then they are cooled, filled, crimped, and stapled automatically to protect the pouring lip until it is opened on your table. Gardner's ice cream is made of sweet milk, sweet cream, Garden City sugar, and the finest of fruits, nuts, and flavors. Here it is being frozen and packaged in containers you may purchase anywhere in southwest Kansas. Packaging butter is an interesting operation at Gardner's Dairy. It is printed into quarter-pound units and wrapped automatically at the rate of 6,000 pieces per hour. This large daily output means that Gardner Dairy and Ice Cream Company gives you dairy products really from the farm to your table with the shortest possible lapse of time. This is your assurance from Gardner's of the freshest, purest milk products that you can buy. The freezing operation of popsicles, fudgicles, and ice cream bars is another fascinating process. Today they're making popsicles. This is the only plant in western Kansas that makes their own novelties. Gardner's Dairy has an operating capacity of 60 dozen per hour. Do you hear that, children? 60 dozen delicious ice cream treats an hour. Yours for the buying at your favorite store. As long as it says the Gardner Dairy and Ice Cream Company, we know that it's fresh, pure, and delicious, too. Open house at the Knight High School and junior high buildings was a huge success, with over 3,000 interested folks in our town attending. School board members were on hand to answer questions, and teachers were in their rooms to visit with the guests. Everyone was impressed with the ultra-modern, soundproof halls and the perfect lighting that the school is equipped with. Miss Bernadine Sitz, a teacher of Latin and English, was one of the teachers who was around to guide and visit with so many interested parents. Many students acted as guides in showing off their new schoolhouse. The guests were interested, too, to see how their tax money had been spent. Wisely, they all agreed. The school is not only attractive, but practical, and with many useful new projects that can be added to the education of our young people. Well-educated citizens are good citizens. A complete new shop boasts of many of the latest gadgets. The one that attracted a lot of attention was the mechanical hacksaw that is equipped to cut steel. Mr. Kenneth Henderson, Director for Vocational Agriculture, demonstrates to a crowd. Junior high school student council members served as guides, and the home economics department served the refreshments during the day. But at night, the Parent Teachers Association took over. In the mechanical drawing department, Carol Wilson was the guide to another interesting phase of school work. In our young people is the hope of our own tomorrows. For if we give them the opportunity to learn and the tools to work with, they will produce an even better future than we can envision. There is so much in Garden City. It is a town with rich natural resources, good industry, good schools, good fun, and good neighborliness. It's a lively town with enough amusement to help us forget the cares of our working days. And we like living here. For this is our town, Garden City, Kansas, USA.